Good morning, traders. We are back with another live trade recap. Today is Tuesday, November 5th. This is my third trade of the week. EurUsd, we are short. We've been short for about, I'd say, an hour and a half or so. We are up about 7 pips just at 1R. So in today's video, I'm going to break down for you what I liked about the trade, what I didn't like about the trade, why I sized in the way I did, and how I did that. And I'm also going to explain to you how I'm managing this trade going forward. We're not out of the trade yet. We're still full in, full size. And I want to explain to you how I even came up with the sizing. So if you're new to the feed, if you're new to the channel, I appreciate you being here. Hit the red subscribe button below me, and let's jump into this recap. So as you guys can see, I am up 8, almost 9 pips now with about 7 minutes left in this candle. I want to flip over to TradingView and just show you what I liked about the trade, like I said, and what I didn't like about the trade, because that played into my sizing here. So as you can see, it's moving very nicely. We had our initial breakout push here, the 545 to 530 candle. That closed at about 111.21. That's where I got in. My entry price, just to be accurate, my entry price is 111.21, right on the dot. So I was waiting for it. We saw the break. I really liked the TDI. The only thing that I didn't like about it, and kind of what I'm using as my first area of potential take profit, right here at 111.08, is this divergence that's set in from yesterday's RSI low here to today's price action low set here at the Asian session. That divergence where the RSI was rising but price action was falling, that divergence tells me that it might be in reset. It might be chopping. So I don't want to stay in this trade all day thinking it's just going to tank. Of course it could, but I need to be aware of the fact that we are divergent. So you want to use these divergence lines for potential take profit. So here, as we're approaching the divergence line, I'm going to watch and see how does it handle this zone. Do we body? Do we push straight through? Do we stop with a pin and come higher off it? That's going to tell me how I should handle. If we pin it and come up, I'm going to probably look to close most of the trade because I know it could hit this line and bounce back into what we would call reset. Reset is where the EMAs are coming together flat. Normally you see that when you have the 800 EMA across the screen. And when you have the market sentiment line, this yellow line rising towards the what we call the stationary 50, the 50 value of the RSI. So both of those things telling me that we might be headed into some reset here today. That was the reason why I decided to size into this trade with only 0.5% risk. I treated it as a B setup, not an A plus setup where I'm looking to put 1 or 2 or 3% on the trade. A B setup because of the divergence, because of the EMAs. But past that, the risk reward was measurable. The 9 pip stop, my stop is actually a little lower than that in reality. I think it's at, stop is at 28. Yeah, it's 2 pips lower. So I actually have, I actually have a better stop. Let me move it just so you can see exactly, like right here. When the risk reward is measurable like this, these are opportunities that you want to do your best to grade them with a letter grade using your risk profile, like I teach in the course, like I teach on our webinars, and then understanding, okay, look, it's not an A plus setup, so I don't need to go 3% on this or even a full percent on this, but the risk reward is still measurable. So I want to be involved in the setup to see if I can go get 1R, 2R. Right now, I'm up just about 10 pips, which is over 1R. So I'm actually going to take a little bit of the trade off here, not a lot of it, but about 25% closed right there at 111.11. So we're going to let it play out, guys. We don't want to rush out of this trade. It's only 7:10. As you can see, we're getting a little more push here, and each candle off the 8 EMA tells me to stay in. We'll react when we reach the pivot point, when we reach the divergence line here, and we'll see if it decides to push through. The TDI and EMAs do tell me that we have the gas to see this thing come lower. So I'm talking to everybody in the VIP chat. Seems like everybody's making money on this trade with me, which is very good. And if I flip back to MetaTrader one more time, you can see we're now up 12 pips on the trade. So a nice trade here, over 1R, going for 2R. Let's see if we can get it. I'll keep you guys posted. All right, guys, right here, it is about 7:20. I am 75% out of the trade here, over 1R, already bagged. And as you can see, the stop loss is locked in profit. So I can't lose any money on the trade at this point, and I only have about 25% on. So even if I get stopped in profit here, it's just going to be a small little piece that we add in to the winner, but I think there's still potential, as we just broke out for a new low of day, still potential for this thing to come down and hit my take profit underneath 1.1109, 1.108, right around there. So if we take a look, the reason why I closed half the trade here and then actually took a little bit more to get me out 75% was because of the divergence line. Remember, I talked to you about this in the first clip. This was set in the Asian session last night. And if you ignore divergence like this, you'll get chopped around very often. I still think this can come lower today. By the end of the day, it could still end lower. But with this divergence line being here, with it not being an A+ setup, I gotta bag the pips. Most of you are holding your trades way too long, trying to make them something that they're not. The risk here was 7 to 10 pips. We're up over 10 pips when we're closing it. So you're making over 1R on this trade, like you see me do on most of my trades. Now, not every trade's gonna go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6R. You saw yesterday's move on CHF-JPY. If you haven't seen that recap, I'll link that above. This trade went 6R from my entry. So not every trade is going to be like that. You have to understand how to grade them and determine which ones might not be like that. At the same time though, until it gives me a solid exit signal, it might just stop here at this price and then end up coming lower. If we turn on the pivot points, you can see we're actually sitting at a pivot point as well. So not only the fact that we're at the divergence line, but the fact that we're sitting at a pivot point was another reason for me to say, yo, take some money off the table, because if it bounces here, you're gonna feel like an idiot for not doing that. So another win in the bag, right? 0.5% risk on, so I'm already, up about 0.8, almost 0.9% on the day. If we can get this a little bit lower here, I'm gonna pull at least a 1% gain here, which is great considering I only risked 0.5%. So it's always about good risk reward opportunities when we talk about this stuff, guys. And there was really nothing else here today that got me interested. So if there's nothing else that's interesting, you can still take subpar, not A+ setups like this one. If they're a B or even a C, you just got to size down. You didn't see me put 1% risk on a B setup. You saw me put 0.5% risk. But because it's still a good trade, because I read the risk reward well, I can still go in and make 1%, even more here if this wants to come lower. So I'm still holding 25% of the trade. Stop is locked. Can't lose any money. It's a great trade. Really good Tuesday. This is going to be my only trade of the day. I'm not going to do what I did yesterday and keep trading after I'm already up. So I'm going to finish this trade out. I'll come back on with you guys as we wrap it up, whether it comes up and starts to stop me, gets close to stopping me, or if it continues lower here, as you see. That body right there through the pivot tells me we might keep moving. So let's body this divergence line and let's head lower. Let's see when the RSI hits oversold. 723, I'll come back on in a little with you guys. All right, team, I am tapping back in here. As you can see, I'm up over 20 pips in the EurUsd trade. It's ending up really, really nicely for me here. If we flip over to TradingView, you can see where I closed the trade at the pivot point, at the divergence line. It slowed for about an hour, but now I think because we bodied the pivot, which I mentioned before, we're seeing more movement to the downside, probably going to reach the next pivot. It's within average daily range. I have average daily range marked with this green line here. So seeing the average daily range level and the next pivot point level being very close to each other tells me we have the space, and since we bodied the previous pivot, we're more likely than not gonna move to this next pivot, 1.1092. So if you look at MetaTrader, that's exactly where I have my take profit, 1.1091. It's about 30 pips from the entry, which is over 3R, or actually over 4R almost, because the stop was about 8 pips. You get 30 on that, you're pushing 4R. So it's a really, really nice trade on this one. I'm gonna stay in here, as again, we haven't broken the 8, we haven't even broken back above the pivot. This candle closes in 5 minutes, and I think we're gonna probably finish around here and hopefully see more bearish movement to the downside in the next 30 minutes or so. Hopefully hitting my take profit. But I wanted to come on, show you we're up over 20 pips now on the 25% of the position left. Stop is still locked in profit, and we're gonna give it some more time. There's CAD news coming in an hour. I'll be out of this trade before then. It's high impact CAD news. I'll definitely be out before then. So 824, we're up. I'm gonna come back on and update you guys in a little bit. All right, guys, it is 8:46. I just closed a little bit more, so I have like 10% of the position still in, very small still in. Stop loss has actually moved even lower now, locking more of the trade, so I can't lose any money at all. I actually only make a small piece here if it decides to stop me out in profit. The reason why I decided to move the stop and take off a little bit more here, if we look at TradingView, you can see we did break the divergence line, but look at how the RSI is reaching oversold, and look how close we are to the next pivot point and to the ADR max line. So oversold, close to the second pivot, and close to max ADR. I'm very happy with this trade. From my entry point here, it's moved 26 pips. The initial risk was about 8. So we're looking at a trade that's going at least 3R. It's a great move. It's a great Tuesday. And I feel like this is the epitome of trading. Yesterday, caught a great trade. CHF-JPY gave a little bit back on GU. You saw both of those recaps earlier this week. If you haven't, go check those out. But then staying focused and just saying, look, I had a great trade on CHF-JPY, an okay trade on GU. I'm going to come back tomorrow and see what I can find. Bang. You find a great setup like this, you hit it with even the risk that I hit it with, 0.5%, very small, still over a 1% gain. And these are the kind of wins that compound and help you grow your account. So here with the very small piece left, I'm just gonna let it ride out. It's either gonna stop me in profit when it comes up to the pivot point here, or it's gonna move lower and hit my take profit. But start to finish, You guys can see the P&L above my head, a really, really solid trade, and I hope this helps you make better trading decisions going forward. I hope that this motivates you to follow a system, to follow a process that's easy to do, and I hope it motivates you to get into the mindset of one good trade. And if it's not there today, I'm coming back tomorrow. And if it's not there tomorrow, I'm coming back the next day. You're gonna survive a lot longer than most people, the fact that you're watching this video. So please, if you're going to survive, settle into that. Accept that. That's a part of this business. Some days they're going to be there, some days they're not going to be there. Today, it was there for us. So again, a great trade, called in the VIP. Everybody's happy today making money. Literally, Harsh just sent me a message. He's full out of the trade. It's a really, really good trade. You can see the P&L above my head. I'm going to wrap this video up here. I will catch you guys in the next live trade recap.